Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Ashers, and this is
Pet O.
Pat. Oh, how was your weekend? I heard you did some big things.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Oh
Yeah, we
no.
had the Blue Island Film Festival at the Lyric Theater. Awesome venue. If you live in the Chicagoland area and you have not yet checked it out, please do. There's events there all the time. Friend of the show, Mike Vanderbilt, is doing like a monthly movie night, and yeah, it's a really cool spot, and it was well attended. We had 12 people with our group about, and then there was probably like
Huh?
200 people there total, so it was a really good audience. But what we did not have was the best movie at the festival. Not by a fucking long shot. There was some very stiff competition. I'm my own worst critic, and I don't like, believe it or not, I reach a point with my movies where I don't want to watch them anymore. I don't like looking at them. All I see is like a collection of flaws and things wrong on the screen and missed opportunities. And it's not like that when I first finish them. I'm very excited about them and I like to watch them and I get a kick out of them. But after like the third or fourth time, it's just, I don't want to look at it anymore. And, yeah, so it was, it was kind of like a bittersweet thing. Where it was cool and like people laughed at the right parts and everybody was super enthusiastic and happy, but I was just like, let me get drunk as quickly as fucking possible. And yeah, so my kid was there though. It was really cool for him. At the end, they brought all the filmmakers and actors and stuff on stage, and he was in it. So he went up on stage with me, and they're going to do the festival again next year. And my son's really into stop motion, like claymation and stuff. And I told him you should really make an effort to do a stop motion thing, and hopefully that inspired him to like, look, you can make stuff and then you can screen it for people and they laugh and then you get to go on stage. And if he found it empowering, because I mean, as a kid growing up, like my parents never did that with me, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And if I could do that for him and just kind of, even if he never goes into the arts or performance or anything, just to kind of give him that little bit of confidence, um, it'll have all been worth it for me, I guess. But I just had a so time, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it was a failure, though. It sounds like people liked it.
Bitch, no one said failure. The fuck you say
Wow.
failure for? Who said failure?
You're acting like it was terrible. It was
No,
just
it was.
awful.
I
Everybody booed me off the stage. I don't
no,
know.
no. Like I said, it was the best of times. It was the worst. And honestly, like we went and had drinks at the bar that we shot it at, and then we went and we visited Mike over at Rock Island afterwards. And like he's been through so many of these with me. Like he knows. Like I just fucking I'm not, as much as you think I would be that guy that would love to go to those things. I don't like going to those things. As much as you think of like the Pato Doctor X persona and like how I am and shit, how much I like to do this stuff, I don't like to do that stuff. That's not me. Um,
why don't you like to go do those things?
I don't know, because I don't like people. I don't like I I just I makes me feel very vulnerable, I think, when I make stuff and then I hold up my stuff for people to judge. Makes me feel very vulnerable. If we're gonna get all Mark Maron WTF here for a second. you know, yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. It is what it is. Like I liked being in bands and playing in front of people. Like I don't know. I don't want to make this about fucking psychoanalyzing me. So that was that.
Sure.
But I did, I don't know. I'm gonna make. I come out of these things and I say, okay, what am I doing next? You know what I mean? What's the next one? What's the next one gonna be? And Trauma picked up another one of my movies, Blood Spray the Musical. I don't know if I talked about that anywhere.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna distribute a second one of mine, and there's a third one. That Tentacles one, I think I might give to them too, um, because I think they would really like it. And me and Derek kind of talked about it this weekend, and I think I might shoot out that email this week. But yeah, they picked up Blood Spray the Musical, which was another 40-hour film that we did, which was, as the title suggests, a musical, and that actually won for best musical that year. So that's another pretty good one. So we'll have, I think they'll be up in December is what it's looking like. So there'll be two pedo movies on Trauma, which is cool. And other than that, NaNoWriMo, it's November. Been trying to write the Be My Cat knockoff. So I'm working on that a lot.
Sure.
And it's coming along pretty good. I've got a lot of
Good.
it fleshed out, and I'll send it to you when I'm done. Let me know what you think. But
Sure.
that was Saturday. Sunday was D&D. That's it. That was my weekend. Oh,
What?
completely forgot. I am partnering with a local grower, and soon we'll be selling the official On Wednesdays We Talk Weird Weed. I
Oh,
tried it this weekend. It's really good, as
okay.
I could vouch for. Yeah, I know, because you can grow in Illinois. You can have up to 5 plants, and I have a friend that's doing that, and we'll slap a sticker on the bag, and there you go. So part of the
Do I get a sampling
oh,
of my own brands?
definitely, dude. It's
Okay.
good. It's
Okay. All
good.
right.
It's not fucking swag. It's nothing. You not need to. You're not gonna. This is not to be smoked out of a Mountain Dew can. This is fucking really, really, really good shit. The only worthy of the On Wednesdays We Talk Weird brand. So can't cross state lines with it, and if it's illegal in the state that you reside in, that's not my responsibility. But if you are in Illinois, please hit me up 77359 weird and
Place
give me
your
your
order.
order. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Well,
Cash
that
only,
was
no fucking checks.
no checks. That's I've never bought drugs with checks before.
I tried to. It doesn't usually work.
I'm
They usually tell you no.
like, man. It's so much easier now. I remember like having to go to the fucking bank and withdraw money, and then like if you needed to like break your change, you break your change. Now you just fucking cash app that shit. Like
Right.
it's so easy to buy drugs now.
Well, I go to
Um,
dispensaries for the most part. That's what was so crazy when my friend was like, "Oh, I'm growing it," and which, by the way, too, if you're an Illinois resident, you're probably getting your weed at a dispensary. Why are you paying? If you're sick of paying cocaine prices for marijuana on Wednesdays, we talk weird weed. Okay, priced like regular fucking weed. It's not crazy dispensary price weed. There's no Illinois sales tax. Um, I probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah. We like used to buy it back in the day in a bag from a dude. So there you go.
buy your weed classical style. Um, Endorsed officially by Wednesdays We Talk Weird. Hey, that's great. I'm here for it. Wow.
Now you
Well,
need to get working on the on Wednesdays we talk weird DMT, and we'll have a
that's
full
true.
line of this stuff.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, that's easy. Just make our own drugs. Um, we're not actually selling drugs, just in case anybody's curious.
That was
Pablo
a
might be, but
that was high comedy. That was a bit. That was performance art. None of that was real. 77359 weird.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I did not have a nearly as exciting weekend, but that's okay. I have been checking out Jeremiah Byron's open line show. That's been pretty good stuff right there.
Cool. Our conversation, it finally motivated me to get on the Discord server with everybody. I've been a Patreon supporter for like months, but I never joined the Discord. I finally did that this week, so I could
Yeah,
be more in tune with what you guys.
it's pretty
Yeah.
happening over there in the Discord. I have not been doing so hot on the Discord, which sucks because you guys, if you're patrons, you have access to it. So I should probably do better just at Discord in general, and especially because it is a perk that I have with several of my people that I support on Patreon. So, but yeah, Jeremiah Bryan's got the Bigfoot Society podcast YouTube channel over there. He does the open lines some days of the week. Usually Sunday for sure. He's definitely there. So check that out. And then of course I got the official green light. I will be at CryptidCon this year. So come see me at CryptidCon. I'm not doing anything. I'm just there to attend. I'll only be there Saturday. So that's something
Is that
too.
the one in November?
Yeah.
In
Yep.
a couple of weeks. Daniel's going to be there.
Lexington, Kentucky. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, Jeremiah will be there. It's the first time I'll get to meet Jeremiah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
who else is going to be there?
I
I'll
have
be
no
out of
idea.
town. I can't, but like,
I'm not sure.
yeah.
We'll see. But anyway,
Gosh darn it.
I'll be there, and that's all that matters. So,
Hmm.
anyway, that's really all I have. You want to talk about some news?
Let's do it.
let's talk about some news. So Pat, I was sending you this video to watch, and you did. You watched it. Trail
Yeah.
cam in Australia caught some interesting footage. I don't really care that much about a lot of these things, just because most of the time it's so inconclusive as to what you're looking at. But this was pretty good. It seems to be some type of humanoid type figure. I think it looks like a gray. Pato, what do you think about that trail cam footage?
A couple things. So I really dug into this video, but let's first I'll talk about the video itself. It's not bad. It suggests that this creature, the movement from this creature, is what triggered the trail cam.
Yeah,
But what's interesting is there's a branch in front of it that's blowing the entire time. So I don't know why movement from that wouldn't have set off the trail cam. Um, it's one of those things where the video itself is kind of dark, but once they flip the contrast and tweak it a little bit, you can kind of see this creature.
right.
And what was when I watched the video of itself, I was like, "This is interesting." It didn't look totally fake, but I it's not like a chill ran down my spine because I thought that I was seeing the first photographic evidence of alien life or anything. But
Sure.
what was interesting was that when I dug into it, I found out that there was a YouTube channel about a decade ago called The Polished Knob.
Oh,
So that let that fucking sink in for a second. That did a whole series of these videos in the same area of Australia where a young man and his roommates were videotaping these creatures that look exactly like this around their property. And the videos are pretty I don't know if they were ever officially like the dude came out and said these are fake, but they're pretty well regarded as being fake. And there was when I was looking through the comment section of the video that you had sent me, this one that just dropped this week, people were arguing whether or not this was from the batch that the Polished Knob released 10 years ago. And from what I can tell, it's not. People thought that this video that like supposedly surfaced this week was actually an old video that someone just dragged out, slapped some new shit on it, and then sent out to this guy. I don't
okay.
think it is, but it's definitely worth checking out the Polished Knob video, if only from like entertainment purposes, like the idea of telling a story about someone being harassed by aliens and doing it through bi-weekly or whatever YouTube clips that you were uploading that was supposed to look like found footage or something. You know what I mean? I think that the Polished Knob is fake. This isn't necessarily the Polished Knob guy doing this again, but it's from the same area of Australia, and the aliens kind of look similar. But as just a storytelling device or like a piece of media, what the Polished Knob did is, I think, worth checking out for our listeners alone because it's really kind of interesting.
Wow. So you really did deep dive on it. Very interesting. I'm definitely going to check that out because I
Yeah.
did not do as much deep diving on that bit of information. I didn't, man. Sometimes I do. Sometimes
You
I
know
do
what
not.
you need? You know how you find out shit like this? On Wednesdays, we talk weird weed. Fucking motivate you to sit there on YouTube all day long.
Is that what you're high on today? You said you were high as fuck. Is that what it is? I'm going to say that's what it is. Wow. Very interesting. Well, I'm going to post the video for people. Obviously, that's what I do. And then you guys be the judge. I don't fucking know what it is, but it's cool, I guess. It's interesting. Another story I wanted to share. It's just kind of really fucking badass. Actually, I thought it was fucking sweet. An 8-year-old child in India. Okay, was outside playing in his yard when a cobra attacked him and wrapped itself around his arm and tried to bite him. So this
Jesus.
8-year-old kid, what he did, he was one step ahead, and he bit the cobra to death. Bit it in 2 places. Bit this cobra to death, and it dropped off his arm. And he went and told his parents he was bitten. But he went to the hospital to go get some antivenom. But they found that the bite was a dry bite. It didn't inject him with anything. So, hats off to fucking 8-year-old kids in India, man. I would have died at that. I mean, that's kind of shit I had to deal with at 8. Yeah, I would have died. I wouldn't have ever thought of that.
Good thing there
Fucking,
wasn't a cobra in that Meyer bathroom.
that's a good, yeah,
Jesus.
right. I'd have
I
been
don't know who I'd
fucked.
be talking to right now.
Bit that
Yeah.
motherfucker to death. Good for him. Yeah,
Kind of like combining the two news stories. Do you remember that TV show called Scare Tactics?
I do.
I always wanted to be on that. I used to tell my friends, write them a letter, try to get me on there. I don't know how I would react in those situations. I don't know if I would scream and faint or if I would go into fight or flight. Like, that's why, like, the scare tactics people, like, most of the time people freak out and they act like pussies, but you think every once, just percentage wise, someone's got to man up every once in a while and, like, really, like, click into superhero mode and, like, take control of the situation. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what that kid did.
That's exactly what that kid
He
did.
did not bitch out. If you saw that
No.
kid on scare tactics, he'd fucking rally he,
Yeah.
he would not be trying to hide under beds and shit.
No, he was fucking here for it. He came to party and he won. He was victorious. So, yeah, I remember scare tactics. That's a good call out there, Pato. I
Thank
like
you.
that show. I did enjoy that quite a bit. I don't know how I would have reacted. I can't, honestly, I can't remember like any of the segments. I was trying to like deep dive recently. Speaking of old TV shows, and I couldn't find it. Maybe somebody can help. There was this show that I used to watch on MTV that was like people. It was kind of like a game show, but it was like a ghost hunting show where they would like go to these like scary places and they'd have to like do challenges.
Fear
You know,
factor?
no, it wasn't Fear Factor. Like they would go to like a cemetery and like, they would go to like a cemetery and there'd be like a base, like a home base that was safe. And like one of the people would have to go, like the challenge would be like they dug up this grave where this woman was seen every single night and they had to go like lay in the grave all night long. And like they won money or something if they made it.
Who was the host?
I don't think there really, I don't know if there really was a host or if it was just like a narrator.
Yeah, this sounds new to me. I mean, if it was MTV, you think they would have
It was like 2000s. I'm almost positive it was on MTV. Like, but it was, yeah, it was like way early 2000s. But yeah, they would like do like challenges that were like at haunted places.
yeah.
I don't know. Weird show. I remember it. Audience members, if you remember the show, let me know. Because I don't, that's really, I mean, I can't remember details of it. I just remember like, the fucking night vision camera and like, that's it really. I mean, I don't really remember anything notable.
Yeah.
Um, on the flip side of that, the reason why I thought about it recently was because somebody had brought up the shorts that they used to show on Cartoon Network. And I remember these, and I had never thought about these. It was Scooby Doo, but it was them doing the Blair Witch Project. Do you remember those? Have you
No.
seen those? And maybe you didn't, but yeah. And it was, I mean, it was kind of fucked up and scary, but they would like, like Adult Swim has bumpers. It was like that, but it was like the Scooby Doo crew acting out various scenes from the Blair Witch Project.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Again, I just, I don't know, thought about it. That was it, really. That was all I had to say about that. I guess I don't have any more news. Pato, do you have any news?
No, I didn't do shit.
Yeah, I mean, by the time this airs, everybody will have voted. The lunar eclipse will have happened. I don't know. How'd that work out for you guys? Was it good?
Well, hopefully Twitter's still standing too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Probably not, no.
Are you going to buy your blue check mark?
Probably.
Me
I'll
too.
do anything for that.
I think that's so funny is that some people
We'll
are
see.
so outraged by that and some people are like, fuck it, let's do it.
I'd prefer if it wasn't that way, but
There's a lot of people saying that it was that way before, but it was private individuals that were profiting off it and not the company. That there were people that if you were a non-celebrity, you were one of these internet journalists or film Twitter people or whatever, and you submitted an application that people were getting contacted by Twitter employees that would sell them verification for a couple grand. I don't know.
that's lucrative. That's a
Yeah, and
conspiracy right there.
Yeah, no, that was on. Someone tweeted that at Elon Musk, and then he retweeted it and said that he had. This is exactly what they were investigating. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I believe it or not, like about a year ago, I don't know if I told this story on air, but I tried to get Twitter verified, and whatever the criteria was as a filmmaker, I had met the requirements. I think you needed 20 production credits to your name or something, and I have double that probably. And my thing was denied, and I just kind of shrugged it off and was like, "Oh, no big deal," and moved on with it. But that's what they were saying is that they would deny it to people like me. But if you were someone that like was made multiple attempts, or sometimes they would reach out and contact you, and then try to sell you verification. So I don't know.
I think that as long as we still have a means of getting Twitter verified without having to pay for it, I don't think you should have to pay for it, and that be the only requirement. I mean, I think that you should. I mean, if you earn it, you earn it. You know, that's just the way that is. I think anybody that's already Twitter verified should stay Twitter verified, and that's that. You know, and then if you got a couple of jack ops that want to pay for it, you know, hey, that's fine. You know, as long as they have other things. But I am enjoying the Elon Musk parody accounts that everybody's doing to kind of fight back at this and kind of, you know, prove the point of what the point of Twitter verification was to begin with. So that's been interesting. I don't know. I have muted and blocked Elon Musk on Twitter. I don't want to hear anything about him anymore. Twitter. I hate the guy. I don't like him. He's a bad guy. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's like Lex Luthor. That's what he is. He's a fucking villain. He's a super villain. And it's sad. You know, his fan base sucks. They're bad people. Most fan bases suck, though. Let's be honest. No matter what it is, right? But yeah, I don't know. I haven't been dealing with any of it much lately. So anyway, why don't we talk about something that's maybe just as disastrous as Elon Musk? Pat O, what do you know about the Chernobyl disaster before this episode?
I watched the HBO documentary that was super popular. Like what was it, like a year ago, 2 years ago? That kind of broke it down, like what happened over the timeline and the Russians' response. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's awesome. And that was for the most part the entire story. So I was pretty well versed in it.
I
Like I
didn't know
said,
there was a documentary. I thought they
oh
did
no,
a
no, I'm sorry,
TV
not
show.
documentary. It was like a dramatization. It was like a
Oh,
mini
yeah.
series
Gotcha.
with
Yeah.
Lane from Mad Men who played the main character, and it was just all about like when it happened, the response to the town, the first responders that went in there, how they shut it down or tried to shut it down, and all that, and then the cover up. So I was pretty well versed in that aspect of it, which I guess you would say is the official story. And then definitely in checking out the stuff for this week's show, I came across all the Russian woodpecker stuff, which I don't know if we'll get into later. I know we're not there yet. We're not there yet, so I won't go into it. But all the
Sure.
conspiracy theories about it, I guess.
Sure. Wow.
I did not know there was that many of that, and I had heard the Mothman thing too, but everybody is very always whenever I bring that up, everyone's always very quick to point out that wasn't actually there were no Mothman sightings or something like that's like an urban legend. It's
Sure.
not actually accurate. So, what
I,
you got,
I
girl?
I think that's interesting. Well, I mean, I've always known about it because I hang out with weird people, and it's like people are like obsessed with this
Mm-hmm.
situation, and I never really understood why. I saw that awful horror movie, The Chernobyl Diaries. It was not good.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Um, yeah, that was terrible. It was cool. The first bit of the movie is pretty neat, because they actually go there, like actually film there, like that's cool. But then like the rest of it is just fucking awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was a fucking nuclear reactor meltdown, and what else do you need to know about it? I guess, as kind of how I've always felt. And I guess even now, even after researching it for this episode, I still feel the same way. It's interesting because it's very much well, I would say a once in a lifetime event, but it kind of happened again somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
but it is, and it's I don't want to say it's necessary because it sounds really insensitive, but I mean, it has helped us advance science in that regard because now we have like a scientific playing field. And that's kind of neat. But yeah, anyway, so what the hell happened? So April 26th of 1986, some people just didn't do their fucking job right and caused the reactor 4 at the Chernobyl plant to well, explode essentially. I mean, I don't know. I really wasn't going to get into the technical terms about exactly what happened because
Okay.
does that matter? I mean, I don't, probably not. I don't think it does. But what happens when things like this happen is radiation starts leaking out from the plant itself, and that's exactly what was going on. These explosions, it wasn't just fire and craziness. It was radioactivity, which sounds scary and intimidating to a lot of people. Radioactivity can be scary, but it's not what people think it is typically. But yeah, I mean that's the gist of what happened. They don't really know how many people have died due to this. It's still kind of a mystery because some people are still alive to this day who may or may not died yet because of the facts of being exposed to something like that. But and then it's other things, other factors. The town right next to it, which is mostly what people talk about, Pripyat. I don't know how to pronounce it. It was completely evacuated. A lot of people go and visit that site because, again, it's a whole town. They literally evacuated it within, over a 48-hour period. People just left their shit and just left. But the effects, again, were not just straight radioactivity. I mean, there was radioactive sickness that, of course, some people died over. But, got long-term cancers and things like that happened. And suicides. Suicides were another big part of it. So, again, the nuclear falling out is still happening to this day. So, I guess that's where we're starting. I don't know, Pato.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, I was giving you the cue to get into it, I guess.
To get into what do you want me to get into? The fucking
I don't know. You were talking about conspiracies and stuff. I didn't have none of that.
Okay.
no,
So
oh,
there was. Do you want me to do that now? The Russian woodpecker thing.
Well, I'll talk about the let me talk about the Mothman sightings there real quick.
Okay.
Just to kind of get that out of the way because it is easy. Legend has it that a couple of the workers saw a black humanoid figure with glowing red eyes near and around the power plant right before the reactor thing happened. um, these are questionable reports, and I do see this a lot when people talk about Mothman. They're like, "Oh, I saw him there in Chernobyl." That's how harbinger of doom. He's evil. Again, it's questionable. There's the people that were probably may have been there and may have seen this thing. They're not alive anymore to tell us if that really happened.
That's the first red flag for me. I was like, wait a minute, people that were near the reactor before it exploded, like, are there any left? I wouldn't think so.
I mean, there are. Well, I mean, yes and no. I think the people that not many people died immediately. That is the thing about it, is that there were a lot of people that walked out of the power plant. They did die eventually. But there's no names. You can't pinpoint this legend on anybody's names. And it seems like this legend only really dates back to about 2005, and there's really nothing predating that. Some Mothman stories I take issue with because while I understand that things can happen after the fact, right? Hindsight's a bitch and things come out later on in life. There's a guy that claims that he saw a Mothman as a child and Mothman spoke to him and warned him about 9/11, except there's no record of him talking about it until way after 9/11 happened, right? So it's hard to verify those things. And this is very much one of those things. So it is often written off by people as that probably didn't happen. I can't say with 100% certainty that it did or did not happen, but I'm going to say that, again, because there were no reports of it beforehand, it probably didn't happen.
Yeah.
But if it didn't happen, then you know what that means, Pat. That means that it had to have come from the U.S.
What do you mean?
But because Ukraine doesn't have Mothman. I don't know who the hell that is. right? So if Ukraine has this legend, if the people of Ukraine have this legend that there is a winged humanoid, right, with glowing red eyes floating around there, then there's got to be some truth in that somewhere, right? If that originated from the Ukrainian people, then maybe there's something. Or people that already know the Mothman that live here in the US, we have Mothman. They don't, right? There is no Mothman over there. So I mean, it just depends. If it's fake, then it had to have come from over here. If there's any truth to it at all, that means the Ukraine has their own version of it. And that's something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of them make sense. It could be I started hearing the Mothman's like connection story probably prior to the Illinois flap that started in the mid 2000s, the early 2000s, whenever this whole thing started. Uh, I'm pretty sure I heard it prior to that. So that was just reinforcing that it was the harbinger of doom aspect of the story,
Sure.
you know. Um, and I think it was when I had Tobias on my first the first time I had him on a podcast, the one for Loyola, I brought that up to him, and he quickly corrected me and was like, "No, no, that's bullshit." Oh, okay. So yeah, but it is. But I see what you're saying. We would have had to interject that into our mythology,
Right.
since that's a term that we have. I mean, I think red-eyed winged humanoids are kind of universal. Like in Europe, they're gargoyles or whatever. I mean, there's shit like that all over the place. So I think that's definitely a possibility too. But I think it's more likely that the rumor was started on our end.
Yes, right. And I
Yeah,
and I think that red-eyed, winged humanoids are probably the same thing, whatever you call them, right?
right.
That's my whole thing. But yeah, I think that if it's fake, if that's a fake story, it probably started here. So that's my take on that. Take it or leave it from the official Mothman. Whatever you want to do with that.
That never fails to get a laugh from me. I love that.
It's me. That's who I am. So I just accept it. But yeah, so that's my take on it. Anyway, Pato, go ahead. I've
Right.
got some
So
other stuff, but go
okay,
ahead.
we'll bounce back and forth like it's a weird world episode. So 2015 saw the release of The Russian Woodpecker, a conspiracy documentary by Chad Garcia that ended up winning the documentary prize at the Sundance Film Festival that year. So a very high regarded documentary about the Chernobyl disaster that suggests that the disaster was committed purposely by high ranking Russian officials for a couple different reasons. So, this documentary has kind of been compared to the like a 9/11 style. What was that one? Loose Change, that
Oh,
everyone was, that the 9/11 was an inside job documentary. This is kind of one of those about Russia and Putin and the Chernobyl disaster, because like you mentioned earlier, where we associate Chernobyl with Russia, but it was actually in the Ukraine.
right.
So, and it was also actually right next to a series of radar installations called the Dugar radars. Um, that is not only a missile defense program, an early warning radar for anti-ballistic missiles, um, but it's also what they believe to be a shortwave communication radar installation. So this seems like really archaic, and mind you, this was the time before cell phones, right? If you had shortwave radio, works all over the globe, right? It bounces up into the ionosphere like ham radio, okay? And somebody on a ham radio that has a powerful enough broadcaster could conceivably communicate to people all over the world, right? So imagine, like I said, before cell phones were a thing. If you wanted to talk to somebody in another country, you'd have to call them up. That would have to go through a switchboard and all that stuff.
Sure.
Shortwave radio was a way to kind of circumvent that. And in the Cold War era, it was a way for us to, and it was something that we did too. I think we talked about this, didn't we? On like the ghost radio stations. on like our didn't we do like a mysterious signals show
Yeah, we did an interrupted broadcast. Yeah.
or something like that? Okay, so this is that, and there was a radar installation. It was one of the biggest ones ever that was right next to that area. So by the Chernobyl disaster happening, this area, like, no one will go near it. Now the radio equipment's still up and running; it still works. Okay, but it prevented people from going there, and that was one of the suggestions, was that that disaster was a way to kind of make this area off limits so that they could run their super secret. It was called the Russian woodpecker, because it would communicate in Morse code and was constantly going out over the shortwave radio, and you could hear it all over the world. And it would sometimes jump onto different channels and stuff. And it was a way to communicate with spies that were in the United States.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
And but a lot of people, once again, like the 9/11 thing, I mean, over like almost a million people between the deaths at the time and over, radiation and stuff and birth defects throughout the years. Um, Almost like a million people have died from this. 985,000. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So to suggest that the Russian government purposely killed that many people to keep some of their KGB shit secret obviously is a very weighty claim to make. So then some people suggest that it's just a way to kind of further slander the Soviets, and it's part of our propaganda against them. And also the reason that one of the reasons that the documentary makes for proving its theory is if you look at how delayed the Russian response was to the disaster and how much they hid the numbers and kept this stuff a secret from the world for as long as possible. Which, if you watch the HBO miniseries, that's basically what it's all about. But you know, that's one of those things where, like, someone in government does something stupid and we think
Mhm.
it's a conspiracy, instead of just accepting these are fucking stupid cowards that made bad decisions. You know
Right.
what I mean? It,
Yeah.
it, it doesn't have to be part of some Machiavellian scheme. It can just be these guys were pussies. They wanted to save face in front of the world. How do you go in front of the world and try to act like you're a superpower and be like, we fucking blew up the we blew
Yeah.
up our own shit. You know what I mean? And we don't know
Yeah.
how to turn it off, and we need help. That's a lot of egg to have on your face. So,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with that. I didn't think there was anything odd about it. The first person to report that there was an issue happening at Chernobyl was Sweden. It wasn't it wasn't Ukraine.
oh, that's right.
you know.
Yeah.
They were the first ones to be like, and that's because they were detecting high levels of radiation coming from that direction, and they alerted the rest of the world like, hey, something's going on here. So we all pointed our satellites in that direction and found out, oh yeah, there's something going on over there. And I agree. That's a pretty big oopsie,
Right.
so, but did they handle it well? No, they did. Obviously they didn't. But nothing like that had ever happened before. That's something else to consider. Like, it's not like sure, you have contingency plans and things like that, but I mean, when you're dealing with a situation that you've literally never dealt with before, you don't know what's going to happen until it happens.
Mm,
So I don't know. Again, I don't buy into the whole conspiracy deal of it. But I mean, hey, obviously, any natural disaster is going to come with some type of conspiracy tied to it. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would be more willing to buy that the government did this on purpose just to create a test area for nuclear radiation. Honestly, I mean, that would make more sense to me than anything. But what the fuck do I know? I don't know. I wasn't there. Um, but piggybacking off of that, I wanted to mention that right after that same year, tons of shit happened. Um, Abortions that year, there were like upwards of 200,000 abortions done in Europe because of radiophobia, because all these pregnant women were told that probably there's going to be something wrong with your baby.
whoa, I never heard
Yeah,
that before.
yeah, yeah.
That's
That was
fucking
crazy.
dark.
That was a rabbit hole I went down. But yeah, I mean, it was like a big thing. Nobody really knew what the fuck was going to happen, because when this happened, it didn't just affect the immediate area. You had fucking like soiled water now. And it's the waterway right there was the Pripyat River, which fed into another river, which went into the drinking supply for the nearby towns. And I mean, people just had no clue how this was going to affect them. So yeah, a bunch of women, upwards of 200,000 women, rushed out and got abortions, because they
Oh
were too afraid to
Jesus.
have fucking babies with 3 arms and 5 eyes. Um, so that was a thing. Childhood cancer in the first year, childhood cancer raised 90%. 90% is what
Yeah.
happened. And again, let's go back to that. Just kind of talking about the effects of radioactivity on the body. Again, people think of like Spider-Man, you know, and it's crazy that I have to say this, but people do think of like shit like that happening. It's not it's not typically anything that you can actually see. Radioactivity is like your cells. It fucks with you on a cellular level, which usually causes a great amount of cancer. That's typically what happens. And and then eventually you die from it. But you can have radioactive sickness, and radioactive sickness, it comes out in all kinds of fucked up weird ways. You're kind of, some people are like burning from the inside out. Some people, their skin fucking melts off and they bleed for the next 3 weeks until they eventually die. It's a horrible, fucked up way to die if you are directly hit with radioactivity. If you are indirectly hit with radioactivity and you're just exposed to large amounts of it, then you get shit like thyroid cancer in 90% of your children or whatever. You know? So that's a terrible thing to laugh about. I shouldn't have done that, but
Well, gallows humor. What can you say?
what can you do? You
Yeah.
know,
That, you know
but
what? That. Oh, I'm
oh,
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. Just when you said that, it made me have to pull up the information on Fukushima because, that was only a decade ago, and that was a lot closer to home, and it's amazing, and that went on for a lot longer too. I can't believe that like that wasn't more of an ecological disaster than it was. Like I feel like is that was another meltdown situation. It was right on the ocean, you know, and that shit just leaked out into the Pacific Ocean for how I don't fucking. We probably should have compared the two disasters, honestly, but you know, and what have we heard about that? Nothing.
And I don't even really, and that happened what, 2011?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
even, I don't like remember it happening.
Oh,
Then
geez,
again,
I do. You know
I was
why?
doing a lot of drugs. So,
That was when I was on my overnights, and I was an avid coast to coast AM listener. And as much as I kind of bust that show's balls from time to time, they did nightly updates. I mean, literally 5 nights a fucking week about what was going on with Fukushima when that happened. And it was night after night after night for months. It was, this is still happening. We are still leaking into the ocean. This is their next theory that they're going to try to enact. They're going to try to do, you know what I mean? Um, and all the different things they tried that didn't work, and trying to get it contained or trying to get it shut down. And they're going to try to build a wall around it or pour concrete into it, like all this shit. And I remember that. And it went on for a long time. Um, I definitely remember. And yeah, that was caused by a tsunami too.
yeah, we really, I guess we probably should have like compared the two. I mean, I think we learned a lot from the Chernobyl disaster, but, um, some things to note about it, really. I mean, you can go there. You can go to Pripyat. You can go
Yeah.
visit. You can go to Chernobyl itself, and check it out. It's not nearly as dangerous as it used to be, but like, here's the thing about it. There are certain spots, because the way that radioactivity happens, it doesn't just like stay forever, but there are like pockets of areas where it's more radioactive than others. And in those super radioactive areas, it's not, if you walk through it, it's not going to kill you. But if you were to stand in that one spot for, they estimate about 4 hours with how radioactive it is, it's still not going to immediately kill you, but you absolutely have fucking cancer at some point in your life. Like, it's definitely going to happen. It's a given. Um, I don't, Pat, would you go there? Would you ever go?
No, but I would never go outside of the Midwest unless I absolutely had to.
Yeah.
I'm just not like that kind of guy. No, why the fuck would I go there? I don't go to places
Oh,
where they
just to see
jail
it.
people like for crazy shit.
Oh, you
Like,
wouldn't. This is a tour. This is a gim. This is not like going in fucking uncharted Mexico. Like this is gimmicky.
you going into the Ukraine? No, that's technically a war zone. So I'm gonna avoid that shit.
Well, right now it is.
Okay, yeah. Once we make peace, once everything goes back to normal,
Then maybe
no,
you'll go.
I would not. I would not go there. I would not.
I have friends that are like, that's their life goal is to go to Pripyat, and it's like, okay, well that's cool, but like we have been in amusement parks and shit here, like in the U.S., like Holy Land USA, um, that you can go to, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go just because, like, I get it. We're exposed to radiation every single day. That's just the way it is. That's the world we live in now, baby. We are radioactive. But you know, there are some really shady tour guides. Like you would hire a tour guide and you would go up there, but some of them are really fucking shady, and all they care about is making that money. They don't give a fuck about your safety, right? They don't
Yeah,
know.
it's gonna turn into hostile. I'm not going to Eastern Europe
It's
for
not gonna be.
anything.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's not like that. But they don't give a fuck about you standing in a radioactive pool. I don't care. You
yeah.
pay the
No,
money.
I'm not going
You're
to
there.
Ukraine. I'm not going to Thailand. I'm not going to the Philippines.
Okay, well, okay,
Um,
you won't, but people do still go and visit. As a matter of fact, there are people that fucking live there still.
yeah,
There are still people that live, and then there's people that live literally right outside of it, right outside of the zonage area. It says a name for it. I don't give a fuck what it is, but anyway, people still live there, and that's just I don't why.
well, it's the same thing. Why we if you have nothing, if you have nowhere to go, if you have nothing, why do people stay during hurricanes in like New Orleans and shit? And you're
Well,
looking
that's
at all
true.
these people and you're like, why the fuck didn't you leave like everyone else? Where are they going to go? They got nowhere to go. They got nothing to carry with them. I mean, imagine if you were just told like you got to take your daughter and you got to get in the car and you got to drive. It's like where would you stay? Or you could just stay behind and like maybe loot. I don't know.
I guess that's true. I
I
mean, I
mean, yeah,
suppose.
I think at some point, you know, I get the whole homesteader idea. Like, no, this is our home. We're not leaving. And meanwhile, like your kids are all dying of thyroid cancer. Like, you
Right.
know,
I'm glad we stayed.
and your cat flies. It's like, maybe it's time to
You start growing
bounce.
a fucking twin out of your side. Like, hey, buddy.
Basket case.
Yes.
All your kids look like basket case.
That's a wonderful shout out right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. Um, I don't, but I mean, people go and they visit and they're, relatively fine until they find, whatever, like, because I'm sure of all the people that go and visit, eventually, right? Cancer is such a thing now. Eventually, at least one of them is going to get cancer. Not wishing that on anybody. It's just statistics, right?
Right.
you, you think when that happens, they're going to sit there and be like, I fucking shouldn't have gone to Chernobyl. They're gonna look back and fucking regret that trip to Chernobyl. Meanwhile, it's just because they had too many frozen dinners or something. I don't know. Whatever causes cancer these days. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking ironic.
Completely avoidable.
But what we've done, we didn't really know how to fix the Chernobyl situation. We can't really go and clean it up. We can't really do anything about it. So what they've done is they fucking built a box around it, around the fucking reactor. They're just like, I hope that holds up. Did you know that?
They
Did you
built
know
a
that that's
box
what they did
around
to
it.
it? Yeah, it's a fucking concrete box. It's in like a
Oh,
case
I
now.
knew about the yeah, because they had to. All they could do is dump the shit from helicopters. They couldn't. You couldn't send anyone in, and I think the helicopter people all fucking died. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, there's a lot of first responders that died like 2 weeks later, as soon as But yeah, they actually had to they had to redo the box. I think in like the early 2000s, because it was starting to eat away at the box, all the
Oh my
radiation.
god, yeah.
Yeah, and they just made a new one. They're like, that's fine. But there are people that have gone in now to. It's not as bad anymore. There are people that have gone inside. There's like the big people talk about the elephant's foot and inside of the plant, which is just this big mass of. It's mostly, I think it's called corium or some shit. It's mostly just particles. It's just a mass of different particles, and it's so
Mm.
fucking radioactive that like it used to be so radioactive that if you stood next to it for 5 minutes, you were gonna die. It was gonna kill you. It's not as radioactive anymore, but people have now taken pictures of it in can and things like that. But it yeah, the whole thing, we're just kind of like, we're just gonna keep fucking walling this thing up until it just kind of goes away. Like that's been not our reaction to it, but that's their reaction to it. That's how we're solving the problem. So when you were talking about like Fukushima, that's what we're doing. We're just like, it'll just kind of work itself out. um Meanwhile, the damage in the area is so bad in that whole area that it's not going to be habitable for about 20,000 years.
That's crazy to me.
20,000 years. It's not safe for anybody to live there.
So then why? So then why are they making it a tourist attraction? Like, that's what's so crazy is that, like, I understand if you can't live there. I know there's a difference between, it's a great place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there.
Sure.
But if it's not habitable for 20,000 years, maybe you shouldn't fucking.
Can't stop people from going.
I guess.
You can't stop them. And scientists go a lot. They got a lot to study. They're studying the wildlife. And actually, here's what's crazy about the wildlife in the area. Yes, the immediate wildlife, a lot of it died. Okay. The ones that didn't die did go on to pass mutations within their genetics, if they could pass them at all. Radioactive animals, it's come to find out, aren't very fertile. Actually, one of the biggest issues is that they don't reproduce after they've been hit with that much radiation. But the ones that did go on to reproduce things that have issues. But what that looks like is, again, rife with cancer, short life expectancies, things like that. However, the wildlife in the area is fucking thriving because there's no people there.
It makes sense, yeah.
It's doing an awesome job, which, can't come to find out, people are more dangerous than nuclear radiation. How nice is that?
I buy it.
So
it also shows how like incredibly fucking stupid people are and how they don't listen to common sense whatsoever. The fact that it would become a big tourist place. It's like we feel like people like this idea that like they have to be tricked or that like, people have to be brainwashed and God forbid we platform certain people because if we let their voices be heard, they'll instinctively lead people to their doom or something. People are killing themselves pretty good on their own, right? Like people are fucking idiots. Like if you are not a scientist and you go to Chernobyl for any fucking reason except for it seems like a cool place that I'd want to get a picture in front of, like I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that those are QAnon people or that those are like but they're, you know what I mean? It's just they found a different way to channel their idiocy,
I mean, live and let live, but just know going there what the dangers are. I mean, it's not like, okay, so you're not going to show up at Chernobyl and there's like a secret society of mutated people that eventually kill you, like in the movie, or whatever happened in the movie. I don't really remember, but
it was like zombies. I don't think they were that well organized or anything.
It's terrible. Yeah, no, it's not good. That's not going to happen. You're going to go and there's really nothing going on there. Except for an old abandoned town that people have since. So many people have gone anymore. It's not like things are just sitting where they lie anymore. People fuck with that shit. They move that shit around all over the place. It's not like that anymore. Don't take anything. If you're going to go know the risk, don't take anything with you. That shit is radioactive. Having it in your home will fucking kill you. And there are spots in that area that will absolutely fucking kill you. It's not going to kill you that day. That's the issue with it. It's not going to be that day. It's going to take a long time, but it will kill your ass. So, if you're okay with that, some people are okay with that. Look, I smoke. Okay. I'm a smoker. It's killing me. I know that it's going to kill me, but I still do it.
Man, you had to bring that up. Yeah, I smoked a few cigarettes this weekend. See? And my wife was really pissed. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, hey, I'm drinking. Let me have a few smokes.
I,
But I mean, like of all people, like yeah, I guess like
kill me.
no, no, I'm still gonna come down on harder than Chernobyl people, but I guess I get it a little bit because
You got to go
I
out of your way to do that. It's easier to smoke a cigarette.
I had open heart surgery 10 months ago, and I was out this weekend fucking doing shots of Jameson and smoking cigarettes and whatever.
So I mean, right? People just YOLO. I guess is what
I guess right. I mean,
you know.
you know, why am I gonna yuck somebody's yum? Just fuck it. If you want to go to Chernobyl and just
Fuck all the way
whatever.
off in Chernobyl.
Right.
Yeah. If that's what your deal is, I don't know if I would go. I don't think I'd pay to go, but if anybody was like, hey, I'm going to Chernobyl, would you go? Then I'd do it. Fuck it, yeah. Like I'll pay for it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do anything for money. Do anything for a free trip. I'd probably do it. I mean, it's not that bad. It'd be like getting hit with you know how like over the course of your life you take X-rays or whatever. Going to Pripyat is like getting hit with 10 X-rays, but like all on the same day. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I mean, it's not great, but like, there's probably worse things out there. I don't fucking know. I. But I think it's kind of funny and very sad. And maybe that's the part of it that people are fascinated with. That again, we haven't fixed this problem. It's still a problem. It's still happening. Now, granted, it's not leaking radiation at alarming rates or anything because we built a box around it, so it's fine. But it's not going to go away. It's not going to go away. 20,000 years, Pato. 20,000.
That's a long fucking time, bro.
We won't even be around.
Who knows if human beings will? I mean, well,
that's what I'm saying.
We would have to evolve to. There has to be some kind of evolution. We certainly wouldn't look like this,
And we have done this now, not once, but this has happened twice. I mean, I didn't study Fukushima again. Like I said, when it happened, I didn't even really. I'm sure I knew about it, but again, I was doing drugs. I was busy.
It was a rough year.
I was pregnant that year. That was the year I was pregnant, so I was not doing drugs at the time, but I was busy making a human to grow up in this terrible world that we have. And so I don't really know the extent of how that happened, but I'm going to say chances are if we didn't fucking fix the Chernobyl deal, we're probably not going to fix that one either. It's we probably learned though by now that we can just like put a concrete box around it and then just replace it after 30 years and just keep doing that. It's forever, until eventually it subsides and it goes away. I don't know. Pripyat and Chernobyl, those areas are now like dreamlands for a nuclear physicist. Again, it's helped us further science in those areas. But what good did it do if pretty much the same thing happened again in 2011? So,
well, when you hear these stories about these people sometimes think that the aliens are intervening to try to save us from ourselves from an ecological disaster, whatever. I mean, that right there, we totally fucked up the planet. Like if it's going to take 20,000 years
to fix.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like all you need, and then now there's a second one. How many hotspots like that can our ecosystem afford to have before it just totally fucks up everything and we end up killing ourselves and all the life on here?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, there was I forgot what's. I'm glad you brought up aliens. There was allegedly a story. I can't verify it, but allegedly somebody saw like an orb UFO over the power plant a couple of times during the nuclear meltdown.
Yeah, those people were all dead. So how'd that report get out?
There was a name associated with it, some weird fucked up Russian name or Ukrainian name that I can't say. But I went to go try to look at the reports because I did try to backtrack on that. I was like, well, let me see. People see UFOs all the time. Let me go see. And the only source that I had was in that language. It was a website in that language, and I was not about to Google Translate all that, so I didn't. So I don't know. Who knows? Is there anything to that? I don't know. The aliens are just like, hey, the humans are fucking up the planet. Let's go take a look. He got front row seats. I don't know. Maybe they did it. I don't think they did though. I just think someone just fucked up their job that day. I mean, that's how simple. That's that's how quick something like that happens. Literally they just fucked up. If you want to read the technicalities of it, do. But someone just fucked up. Didn't hit a button somewhere. Didn't do that. Didn't
Right.
check off that box. And guess what? They caused the whole nuclear disaster. So I mean,
And I
it
don't
could
think
be
it's
worse.
as yeah, well, I don't think it's as easy to write off too as that, oh, they were stupid Russians. I think that,
Yeah.
we are lucky that we don't have something like this on our hands. And maybe it's only a matter of time before we do. Because now the Russians have it and the Japanese have it. We use nuclear power too. There's actually Illinois has a lot of nuclear power plants. And I know some of the engineers that work at them. And you're relatively safe, I guess. But not that I know like the actual nuclear engineers, but just like anyway. Um, yeah, it's a roll of the dice, man. I know this is probably proven technology, and there's a reason that we keep using it. But what's going to happen here is it going to be an earthquake. There's a one of the first episodes that I did with this show. Once we got past my origin story and all that shit, was the Great Chicago Earthquake Prophecy,
Hmm.
because you have the New Madrid fault line that runs through the Midwest right through Illinois, and all of our nuclear power plants are in southern and central Illinois. And if those things go off, I'm fucked. That could be the next Chernobyl.
Sure.
Chicago's within range to be. I don't know if they would evacuate the whole city, but I don't even know if you couldn't. There's too many of us. It
Yeah.
would be disastrous, is long story short. And then to have that happen in the central, in the middle of the Midwest, where we have all of our, like the grain belt and all that stuff, where we do all our farming. I mean, it could be a disaster even worse than what we've seen with the other two. And that's just because I know about where the nuclear plants are in Illinois. The rest of our listeners, if you don't know offhand, there's a pretty good chance that there's a nuclear power plant in your state, because we use them all over the fucking place. You
We
know,
don't have one here in Ohio.
you don't, or you do?
Mm-mm. We do not.
Okay, well,
We do not.
I don't know where they're all at either, but like
Yeah.
I
But
know that,
they're out there. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, we have them. I mean, Illinois has them for
right.
sure.
We
So
aren't you know, we're not impervious to nuclear meltdown. That is a very real possibility that could just fucking happen. And you're right. Pat, you start talking about all these people in the farming industry. Exactly. And, that's another part of it that people, there's just so much when you talk about specifically Chernobyl that affected it. Again, it fucked up the drinking water. It fucked up the food. I mean, everything in that area. It just entirely annihilated it, which is why people are still dying from the fallout of something that happened in the 80s. They're still dying from it. The disaster hasn't really ended. It's still just going slowly, but it's still fucking leaving its mark. So yeah, I mean that is a very real something. That's something that could happen here. It could happen right at
Ohio,
home.
Ohio has two actually. Shows me you
What?
fucking know. Yeah,
I googled it. I didn't see any.
yeah. There's the David Bessie nuclear power station. It's northern Ohio. It's like right on that lake that you guys got up there, like between Toledo and Sandusky. And then the other one is Perry Nuclear Power Plant, and that is between um, what is it? Plainsville. It's north of Akron over there.
I don't even know where Plainsville is.
It's the northern part of the state. It's like right on what is that, Lake Erie?
Yeah.
They're both on Lake Erie. One's just a little bit east of Toledo, and one is north of Akron, which is right on the state line with Pennsylvania, or by the state line of Pennsylvania. So they're both, like I said, northern part of the state. And then most of the Appalachia is clear. When you get North Carolina's got some. When
Where are
you
you
get
seeing this at? I'm curious.
the USN, so go to nrc.gov, the
Okay.
Nuclear Regulatory Commission, And then there's a operating nuclear power reactors by location. It's like an interactive map of the United States. I'm looking at it right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, but Illinois' got a ton of them though. Like we actually, there's some a lot closer to my fucking house than I thought. And there's some in central Illinois. Yeah, Illinois has, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 8, 10, 11. There are 11 in Illinois. That's entirely too many.
I want to point out that nuclear power plants and power plants are not the same thing.
Operating nuclear power reactors.
Right. Nuclear is the important word there.
Yeah.
Apparently, we have a nuclear reactor lab in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Where they're just playing with the shit.
That's well, you smart. Know, we were on that. So Friday night, we kind of didn't talk about it. We were both on that YouTube live thing that Tobias was on. I popped in the room for a little bit. And somebody in that chat brought up the fact they were talking about the Illinois Mothman sightings. And somebody in that chat brought up that a lot of the what are kind of like the O'Hare and Rockford sightings are not too far from Fermilab. And that completely fucking slipped my mind. I never made that connection before. Fermilab is where we have like the American CERN. And we do a lot of they call them Ricks. There's Little Rick and Big Rick. And I forget what that's an acronym for. But we do a lot of the particle experiments and stuff. And we have a super collider and everything. And all of that stuff is in Batavia, which isn't that far. But, you know, I don't know if that necessarily correlated. But narrative-wise, it's an interesting thing to consider that there's some kind of correlation there.
Sure.
Know? But then there would be a huge Mothman's flap in Sweden, too, and there's not that I know of.
Yeah, well, true. That's a very good point. Yeah. I agree with that. Do you hear that?
No, what do you hear?
That's a beeping. That was weird. Maybe you're onto something, Pato. I don't know.
It's the woodpecker. It's the Russian woodpecker.
Maybe I've got fucking thyroid cancer from just even talking about Chernobyl.
I hope not.
Just hearing beeping.
I mean, I could see you getting HPV from hosting the show with me, but that's just about it. That's all I'll take responsibility for.
Secondhand HPV.
Talking to me once a week, it's good. Through osmosis. Shit.
That was weird. I mean, I don't know. I live in an apartment. Maybe it was coming from somewhere, but it's not. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Go see if Mary heard it. What's the status of your neighbor? You said she moved out. Did you get new ones?
No, not yet. No, not yet. And fucking, here's a funny story. I'll tell you a funny story real quick. I think it was Friday. Maybe it was Saturday. I don't remember. I was leaving the house, and one of my cats, he'll run out of my apartment door, okay? He doesn't go anywhere. You know, Pat, you've been here. I have like a lobby, right? So he'll run out the door. I'll go pick him up, put him back in the house, whatever. So they've been working on the apartment right across from me, okay? And I don't know why, but that apartment door was just wide open. It was just wide open and nobody's in there. And my cat runs out my door and runs into that fucking apartment. I had to go chase his ass. It's like an abandoned apartment. It was just, I was so annoyed. Anyway, that was my story. I felt weird. I was like, what if someone's in here? Because it was, okay, so it wasn't like in the middle of the day, and I'm almost positive it was Saturday, which nobody's here on the weekends, right? So, and it was like 6:00 at night, so nobody's there. And I'm like, why is this door wide open? I'm like, am I going to find a fucking crackhead squatting in here? Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Some teenagers making out. I don't know. Nothing happened though. I got the cat and I brought him back home, and that was that. He was in trouble.
A bunch of kids drinking and spray painting Satan on the Wall.
Right. I'd have joined. I'm like, oh, this is a party. Let me go get the cigarettes.
You guys want to come watch Joe Bob at my place?
Yeah, I got some rum and Coke. They think I was cool. You know, never mind. I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you after the show.
What?
All right. No, I'll tell you after the show. It's not show friendly. Maybe we'll talk about it on the Patreon, but it's juicy.
Oh,
it's juicy. Anyway, Pato, do you have anything else to say about Chernobyl or nuclear disasters or any of that?
No, I do not. 77359 weird.
77359 weird. Tell us. We still haven't gotten erotica stories yet. Send us your erotica stories at 77359 weird, and
Have you checked that? Have you checked it recently? Have we gotten anything? Because we've been
nothing.
dropping that number more.
We've been
You guys got to
getting nothing.
send us something. Give us just
Right,
call
send
us.
us shit. You
Call
guys
us
don't
some.
send us anything.
Yeah, Jim Jam hasn't messaged us in a while either, so you could just call that number and give us your show
Jim
thoughts.
Jam doesn't like us anymore.
You burned that bridge. You fucked that up. I don't know what you did, but
It's because you shit talked him that you were gonna kick his ass at skee ball.
well, that's because we thought we were going to a Dogman convention. I mean, you want to keep this fucking story going? Yeah, let's see where this goes.
You challenged his ass to skee ball and didn't show up. Yeah,
Well, we got uninvited for the Dogman convention by the Uber driver.
That's true.
You guys have your own cars. You can't come. Okay. All right, dude.
I mean, it is what it is. Anyway, we'll stop talking shit. And I'm gonna save that for the paywall. But before I go, fuck white people, because that's
there you go.
That's our thing. So anyway, we'll see you guys back here next Wednesday.